Hey there runner, Coach Kyle here, and today I'm going to go through 5 things you absolutely must know when it comes to successfully running with a stroller, and I'm going to tell you a few things that totally surprised me that I never would have expected before I started stroller running. As always, let me know in the comments below what you think, if I forgot anything, and I always love some good discussions. Today I'm going to talk about how to best do hard running workouts with a stroller, one good piece of safety equipment that you can get for pretty cheap, some thoughts on where to purchase and what type of stroller to get, tips for easy running while pushing 30 to 40 to 50 pounds, and of course I'll talk about a few things that totally surprised me when it comes to running with a stroller. So let's start with those hard workouts such as hill repeats, tempo runs, or interval workouts, and how to best do them with a stroller. You can absolutely perform these while pushing a kid. The thing is, you really need to keep in mind that while pushing 30 or 45 pounds on a bike path or up a hill, you're just gonna be slower, and that's fine. Your body doesn't care if you run this pace or that pace for your workouts. It cares about appropriate training, load, and recovery. So you can still get your workouts in and improve. They're just gonna be a little bit slower. In my own personal fitness testing, such as a 5K race with and without a stroller or doing 1K repeats, I'm about 5 to 10% slower with a stroller. And knowing this, I can best put some planning into any workout paces I do with the stroller. I try to teach my runners to use perceived exertion as well, and it's a good thing to put into practice, knowing that a brisk but moderate but sustainable effort, knowing what that feels like, so you can do a good workout without overdoing it. And let me know if you want more information about this. Next up is something else that I use just about during every stroller run. It's a good piece of safety equipment, and actually somebody's thanked me for using it today, and it's a bicycle bell. This is a quick tip here, but this thing is so dang handy. I use it for passing other runners, people walking, so I give them a heads up so I don't startle them or their dogs. And I actually found myself dinging it at bikes who pass me and don't call out or use a bell themselves. So yeah, and this is just a nice little piece of equipment I suggest buying for your stroller. And what about buying the stroller itself though? Let's talk about that. And I definitely think the bike trailer stroller combo is the way to go because it fully encloses the child. Quincy and I did an 11-mile run one day, and it rained the entire time, and he stayed totally dry, lucky little dude, inside his burley here. The sides are tinted, and I can flip the cover over to give him full sun protection no matter which direction we're running. I have a fan I attach, and I can fully open the front and the back to let good airflow through. But having him fully enclosed, on the other hand, I think helps him nap better versus him being just like legs flopped out and like it just being visually overstimulating. I think fully enclosing him helps him nap a little better as well. I've also noticed, and this isn't such a big deal yet, that it's harder for him to throw things potentially out of the stroller because the sides are so tall. And so I think that having the bike trailer stroller combo is just such a win-win-win all the way around. So good running strollers aren't cheap, but they last forever. And so check out your Facebook marketplace. And I think it would be a shame to purchase new when you can purchase used. I got this bad boy for under 200 bucks. And like I said, bike strollers like this last forever. They're super durable. A new Burley is over 400 and doesn't come with that big front wheel, which I think is a deal breaker, by the way. So now I think my final point here before I get into those things that absolutely surprised me about running with a stroller is the opposite of my first point where I talked about doing harder runs. Now I'm going to talk about doing easier runs. When it comes to easy running with a stroller, there are a few things to keep in mind, and the first is that you are absolutely, without a doubt, going to run slower if you're going to keep your easy runs at the appropriate effort so you can continue running further, more frequently, more consistently. You're going to feel good during and after the runs. You're going to recover well versus continually running a little too hard, a little too often, and overdoing it and accumulating fatigue. That is something you want to avoid. For myself, I use a heart rate alert on my Coros watch. So if I hit 150 beats per minute, it vibrates and I go into a walk for 30 seconds or so. This typically only happens on inclines, and it's a nice reminder. You're also going to do a lot of stop and go, and maybe I wouldn't say a lot, but definitely more so than just if I was running without the stroller. But turning corners or seeing a big bump ahead, I'm going to slow down, especially if Quincy's sleeping, to really ease him over a bump or around a corner so I don't wake him up. So I never stop my GPS watch, and my average pace is definitely much slower because of these turns or the stop and go over bumps. But I feel like letting the auto pause run a little bit and then pause for my walks or my stops, it just shoots my average pace up, and I feel like that makes it easier for me to run easy, knowing that there's just really nothing I can do about it. Like, I left it on at the park, so when I would walk back and forth between the stroller and the swing to grab my water bottle or something, it tracked that and just shot my average pace up. And so, well, whatever, what am I going to do about it? And lastly, I wanted to talk about 3 things that really surprised me the most about running with a stroller. Number 3 is that it's not really that hard to run with a stroller. If you get an actual good one, running dedicated one, they roll quite well. I let a friend of mine push one for the first time, and he was actually surprised by how easy it rolled on a flat surface. And if you get on a nice downhill, it's not that bad. So the second one shouldn't be a surprise, but believe it or not, it makes running better. It's so much fun to go running with Quincy. I'll often wait to go run just to run with Quincy. Most of the time he just sits there, he watches the view, he sleeps, he plays with his toys, he babbles, which my group run loves when he babbles. But it's just so much fun, and I like being that dad who people see out running again and again with his kid. Number 1, which I never would have expected, is I run more now that I'm able to run with Quincy versus when he was 6 months or younger and I wasn't able to go run with him. And that's because, now I take Quincy out. It's me and Quincy time, and I'm giving Desi some solo alone time. Whereas before, I'd go and run, I'd feel guilty ditching Desi, and this was not the case, but I had that guilt hanging over my head. And so I would run less. I would cut my runs short for just about any reason. Whereas now, if he falls asleep, I run until he wakes up. And so I might head out for 4 miles and I run like 11 or 12. And so I bring water, I bring something to eat with me just in case. And if you want to learn more about training with a baby, check out this video here where I talked about some things I learned while training for the Boston Marathon with a newborn.